Before Bethesda had the rights to Fallout, Black Isle, the studio that created the series, was working on their own version of Fallout 3, codenamed Van Buren. Like the first two entries in the franchise, Van Buren would have been an isometric game, but was going to be the first to include a real-time combat system, alongside its more traditional turn-based mode. Unfortunately, due to financial hardships surrounding the publisher Interplay, Van Buren would be cancelled mid-development in 2003. While this version of Fallout 3 would never see a full release, some of the characters, locations, and lore would go on to be used in Fallout New Vegas. The NCR Brotherhood War, Caesar's Legion, Hoover Dam, and much more was adapted from those original Van Buren design docs. Joshua Graham was set to be a companion, known instead as the Hanged Man, but still maintaining his backstory as a former New Canaanite, and the right hand of Caesar himself. Other aspects of Van Buren's world have been used in various New Vegas mods over the years, including the dog-infested city of Denver, and Boulder Dome as a major scientific hub. Today, we're taking a look at The New West, a Fallout New Vegas total conversion mod that aims to remake Van Buren's world and story. Or, more specifically, we're taking a look at its playable demo, which serves as an alternate start mod for New Vegas, instead starting you off in Tibbets prison. I played this on a vanilla game, minus the handful of requirements to get it up and running. These are just some of the modding basics that you'll likely be using anyway. New Vegas script extender, the 4GB patch, and so on. The mod comes with its own really convenient installer, and wound up being longer than I would have expected. What really blew me away was the production value here, and I think the mod team put their best foot forward in showing just how much effort they're putting into this. And if you don't believe me, well, let me show you the starting cutscene.
War. War never changes. It was simple, really. Too many mouths, not enough food. The old world ate itself in a vain attempt to survive a growing scarcity of resources. Resources that dwindled through a century of exploitation that hollowed the world long before the bombs fell. As the old world whimpered to its curtain call, the United States, riven by internal struggle, buckling under global conflict, and devoured by disease, looked away from its own failures and towards the stars. Using Project Safehouse as a testing ground for their final ambitions, instead of preventing nuclear war, they prepared to weather it, turning the vaults into laboratories for a future they believed was unavoidable. These decisions, like many others, brought the civilized world to a violent halt. Eventually, when the fire stopped, the dust settled, new societies would rise to stand on the shoulders of fallen giants. Great republics, knightly orders, the survival of faith, and throwbacks to a bygone age of brutality. All would attempt to solve a question long pondered in their own way. The coming wasteland, however, would not be free from the folly of the old world. Old programs gone awry, given new life. The return of a government and corporate elite that shepherded the world to its end, and a contingency plan. These would be crises that shaped the wasteland for years to come. Crises only overcome by extraordinary figures. Yet, in time, another sleeping giant would awake, stirring in the depths of the Boulder Dome, ready to enact a scheme the old world buried and prayed to forget. Those prayers will not save the new one. Only you can. Who you were before does not matter. Whatever life you once lived dissolved with your capture. Your story begins here, on the edge of capture, moments before the machines drag you toward Tibbets and the trial that awaits.
The fully rendered cutscenes are incredible, and I can't say that I've seen much of that done before in the Bethesda modding scene. I think it does a great job of giving that classic Fallout feel, and reminded me quite a bit of watching Fallout 2's intro in particular. Now, a little more about Van Buren, and what we know of it. The game was intended to start in prison, with you, the player, having a chance to say whether you were innocent or guilty, with the possibility of giving you some bonuses based on what crime you committed. You would awaken one day in a prison cell that you did not recognize, to find that the prison was under attack, forcing you to flee. To me, that sounded like a pretty short intro, maybe 10 minutes before you're sent out into the open world. As you explored the wasteland, you'd learn about a mad scientist named Presper, who would be using a version of the new plague as a means to eliminate all life on Earth. And the endings of Van Buren are probably the most detailed parts of the game that we know about. I'll leave a link to the wiki page below. While there's some major plot points, some characters, and locations, it's not as though all of Van Buren was written out, which leaves quite a bit left for the mod team to figure out on their own. While Van Buren seems to start with you already in prison, the new West Tibbets alternate start mod instead shows your arrest in a cutscene, and then has your trial serve as character creation. This allows you to profess your guilt or innocence, which is treated as an in-game perk. The alternate start is fully voiced too, with the voice acting being pretty solid throughout.
Name confirmed. Now, prisoner, can you confirm that the description of the perpetrator we apprehended matches your likeness?
Of course it does.
One thing I noted is that there was sometimes a slight pause in between lines here and there, or a little delay before the next menu for character creation would pop up, which on occasion would have me looking around, hoping that things were still working. I really liked the court scene, and it already starts to lay the groundwork for the fully automated prison that you've been incarcerated in, with your legal aid even asserting that this is all just a sham trial anyway. Upon waking up, you'll have a chance to explore the prison and meet its inmates. The first person you'll meet is Huxley, a scientist from Shady Sands, who helps you get your Pip-Boy and get you a bit more oriented. Huxley serves as both a guide and quest giver, and gives us quite a bit of lore about this version of the Fallout universe. Like I said though, given the information that I could find on Van Buren, I really expected this section to be pretty short. Instead, I got nearly 2 hours out of this, finding several new quests, many of which had a couple different ways to complete them. Exploration of the prison was definitely key, as you could find hidden passageways, get some extra loot, including what would have been taken off of you when you were captured. There were times where it didn't feel like that much of a prison, as you could really go just about anywhere minus a couple more restricted areas. The armory is off limits without a pass, the tunnels leading out of the prison are sealed off, and there's a protectron near the construction area that immediately opened fire on me, but I didn't get in trouble for killing it. You could wear other clothes you found, have weapons equipped, and the robotic guards didn't seem to care. That being said, there's also some story reasons for why it's a bit more lax. While Tibbets Prison has been around for a very long time, its current purpose isn't exactly about locking up criminals. I went everywhere I could, talked to everyone I could find, and really tried to get the most out of this prologue. Given the length and the number of quests, it's definitely a departure from New Vegas's vanilla intro, which throws you out into the Mojave almost immediately. This feels a bit more like Fallout 3's intro, or even the mod Fallout New California, where this more so feels like an introductory act to the game. I think the choice to expand this section to give it more content and quests was a really great decision. You don't have to focus much on combat during this intro, but you will have a few chances to find weapons. And it felt really true to New Vegas, giving you a couple ways to solve most quests. Need to get past a door guarded by an eccentric robot? You can bribe them with candy, or pass a strength test to open up a loose grate and sneak past them. Need explosives for another inmate? You can steal them from the armory, or get a pass to let you in without having to fight or sneak your way through. During my time playing, I was able to recover my original gear, which consisted of a 9mm pistol and some ammo. I was able to get a nail gun, a wrench, and a 10mm pistol, but looking at the mod's trailer, it looks like there might be additional weapons to find that I might have missed myself. interacting with the inmates lets you learn a bit more about the world, and even has some roleplay opportunities. I was able to pick my background, with there being lots of options to choose from. You can be an NCR citizen, a member of Caesar's Legion, a scavenger from Dogtown, an Arizona Ranger, the list goes on and on. The escape sequence feels pretty aligned with what Black Isle had planned. You wake up to the prison under attack from an unknown assailant, to find that the robot guards have been ordered to kill all prisoners, and the warden has started a countdown to purge the entire prison should anyone survive. This led to a bit of a mad dash to find an escape route, and you might want to focus on running rather than trying to fight enemies along the way. In truth, this sequence took me 3 attempts. The first time, I was waiting in my room for a few seconds, only for the turret to turn on me and pretty much insta-kill me. The warden goes from saying, "Stay in your cells and you'll be fine," to "never mind, kill them all," pretty quickly. The second time, I simply got lost, and didn't beat the timer before the prison was purged of all life.
God bless America.
The third time around, I just decided to run past everything, minus an intercom, from which I heard Huxley asking for help. You don't actually get to help him escape at all, but he does give you some more information on the prison, and tells you what you need to do once you escape. Granted, everything he says here is just build-up for when the full version of the mod comes out. I was getting a little stressed during this conversation, as you could still hear the countdown going in the background, and I wasn't sure how much time I'd have to make it out alive. Fortunately, once you get into the service bay, you're safe from the purge. The countdown and dramatic music were still playing while I was in the service bay though, so I wasn't sure if I'd be safe until the clock ran out and I was still alive. Once you escape, you'll find yourself in a metro tunnel that leads to the original Mojave Wasteland. There's a note from the mod team saying that you can find some keys throughout the Mojave, which will open up doors to some unique loot. I didn't plan to play through all of New Vegas just to find the keys though, so I just popped the doors open to see what was inside. There's some new weapons and armor here, showing some of what the team has already made for the larger mod. There's new versions of the metal and leather armors, a redesigned super sledge, a named Desert Eagle, Gauss rifle, FNFAL, and more. And leaving the tunnel places you right behind Doc Mitchell's house in Good Springs. From here, you can play New Vegas normally, albeit with some starting gear, and for me, I was already level 3. And this mod really doesn't make any changes to New Vegas's quests as far as I can see. You're not gonna wake up in Doc Mitchell's house and go through all that, but there's no other dialogue that seems to have been changed. That being said, the mod does replace the original leather and metal armors with its new versions. Personally, I'd rather we get these as additional sets, rather than replacing the existing ones. All in all, I was really impressed by this. I'm always trying to follow these bigger, more ambitious mod projects, and I love when we actually get some playable demos out of it. I really enjoyed trying out the Fallout 1 remake mod for Fallout 4, even though that unfortunately got cancelled. I remember playing Fallout New California when it was just the starting vault. Having these demos is a great way to let players see what you're working on, and it can work as a great recruitment tool to find new people to join these teams. The production value here was great. The fully rendered cutscenes, really good voice acting, and trying to make this feel a bit more like the classic Fallouts with some of the redesigns, with the robots being a really good example of this. One thing I'll say is that I don't know if this is gonna be the kind of mod that'll be a permanent fixture in people's load orders. For me, this is the kind of alternate start that I'd enjoy playing once or twice, but probably not too much more than that. Given that it's on the longer side, I'm not quite sure how well it would hold up on multiple runs. But the fact that it just lets us play Fallout New Vegas once it ends is a huge plus, as I've played other in-development mods that don't provide this opportunity at all. And once you finish that demo, that's just kinda it for that save game. I'm someone that's really excited about a lot of the remake mods out there, but this one in particular is really special to me. Seeing as we never got to experience Black Isle's Fallout 3, this is something really unique. And no, it's not gonna be exactly what Black Isle imagined over 20 years ago. The mod team has quite a bit that they have to write themselves, and they'll probably have to get a bit creative with the world space, as Van Buren was gonna be massive. I for one will be following development of the New West, and when the time comes, likely a long time from now, I look forward to playing it in full. But that's gonna be all for today. As always, thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, make sure to check out the Patreon or the YouTube memberships. Both get early access to most videos, such as this one, along with access to the Discord. YouTube members get exclusive emotes to use in the comments below, along with a badge next to their name. And if you'd like to hang out, chat, and see me play some other games, make sure to check out the streams at twitch.tv/0periodproductions. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.